All right, let's talk about Sam Darnold and the Minnesota Vikings, who had a very up and down game. I guess really it was a down and then up game for them. There was a point when it felt like the story of the game was going to be wow. The Cardinals kind of figured out the Vikings weren't able to get much going, but then all of a sudden things turned. So let's talk about it all, the good and the bad with the Vikings here against the Arizona Cardinals. Let's start off with the bad. So play like this is what Arizona was really able to do successfully, which is it's a 3rd and 4. So you could run the ball here. We have seen some teams do that, but this is a pretty clear passing situation, right? And Arizona is going to play call accordingly. It's an all-out blitz. And here, you see, pressure's going to get there. Darnold holds onto the ball and ends up getting sacked. And just like that, they're able to get the key stop. This is a lot of what Arizona was doing, was finding ways with their blitzing to get pressure and not allow the Vikings to be able to do much. Over here, I thought we saw some clever blitzing by the Arizona Cardinals, which, you can take this in two different ways. You can take something like this as something the Vikings have to get better at. I'm going to give credit to Arizona, but either way, let's talk about the play. So you see how the offensive line on the offense's right is going to be blocking. The center is actually blocking on that side, but it should be a double team block with the guard, and then you have the tackle one-on-one block, the edge rusher right here. However, there are a couple other Cardinals players in the area. That Arizona player certainly could be rushing the passer. He's faking as though he could be rushing the passer. So what happens if he does? Well, no worries for Minnesota. They have a halfback who will go over and he will block number 2 for Arizona. So that's how they can cover that up. But here's where the clever part of this comes in. That Arizona player, you're looking at him and saying, well, he has to cover TJ Hawkinson, right? So clearly he is not rushing the passer. So for Sam Darnold's perspective, he looks at this and feels as though he has complete protection towards the right side of the field for him. But what's going to happen is actually an Arizona player more over the middle of the field. He's going to drop back. He's going to cover Hawkinson instead. Both the two players I've circled in Arizona, circled for Arizona, watch what they do. They both rush, and a different player covers Hawkinson, and one gets through untouched because now they have more players than Minnesota was ready for, and because of that, they get the sack. So some clever stuff like this. Again, that was a 3rd and 6. That was an obvious passing situation, right? So on these obvious passing situations, they're dialing up blitzes, and things are working. This play is an obvious passing situation. It's a 3rd down and 10. It's just zone coverage here. They're not going to be blitzing, although they are selling as though they could be blitzing, which is still always worth mentioning. But they're going to drop back into zone coverage here. Darnold takes a snap, and it's a cover 2 zone. The windows are going to be tight. Darnold decides to make this throw anyway. You see Jordan Addison is the middle player out of those 3 players, and there's just not separation right here. Actually, correction, I believe that's Jalen Naylor, actually, who's there. But you can see it's not really open. Darnold's throw had a better chance of getting intercepted than complete right there. So Arizona doing a really good job in the obvious passing situations. They're doing a very good job. Minnesota not really able to have an answer to that. Well, let's go over here now. So second half, it's early on in the second half. Second half has just started, and they're saying, you know what? Let's maybe try to throw the ball down the field on non-obvious passing situations. Here's what's interesting. Right off the bat, this play, there's going to be a stunt. Arizona's kind of ready for a pass, actually, here, so that's worth noting. But Sam Darnold starts stepping up in the pocket. He doesn't love what he sees. This play is not going to work. Watch. He considers running, then decides not to. Never actually got past the line of scrimmage, but nearly throws a pick. Okay, did not work out. What I like about Kevin O'Connell is he said, you know what? This is still a good strategy. Let's still throw the ball in non-obvious passing situations. I think there's still something here. So he stuck with it, and that's when you saw things get a lot better for the Vikings. First, something like this, sometimes you got to, feed your best player. Justin Jefferson's route's going to try and get into a gap in coverage. This is the 1st down and 10, and they're even going to run a play action. Watch, they run a play action, and they were running the ball effectively here as well, so that helped things. But Darnold, who started off looking to the other side of the field, looks over to Jefferson, and he's not wide open, but he's Justin Jefferson, so that's why you throw it to him. As you see, Jefferson is able to make the grab, and they pick up a 1st down right there. I mean, it's good stuff by Jefferson, good stuff by Darnold. But this is what was kind of allowing them to start to move the ball down the field. It's, hey, let's avoid these 3rd down and 4s. Let's avoid these 3rd down and 6s. Let's try and convert on 1st down. Over here, you have a situation where it's a 1st down and goal for the Vikings. So, okay, again, you want to be able to see if you can convert here. Do you run the ball? Do you pass the ball? You could do either. They decide to run a play action, and then that kind of helps out the offensive line. Darnold makes a nice move off of an edge rusher, and also helps that defensive player in the end zone ends up falling down. So what is Darnold going to do? He flips it over there, and just like that, after only having 6 points with 1 minute and 17 seconds left in the third, they get a touchdown and now find themselves down just one score. Later on in the game, something like this would happen. So again, they're running the ball effectively. They're now setting up as though they could run the ball. They're instead going to run a play action. The way this play works is you have Jefferson's running a setup route, clearing out the area. Hopefully Addison can get into a gap in coverage. Watch, this play action is going to work okay. I mean, Arizona doesn't do a bad job here, but it's enough now. The windows are just bigger because of this. You now have this window. Darnold makes the throw, and again, it's 1st and 10, right? So you're wanting to keep it first down as much as possible. You don't need third downs. Sometimes it's best to try and get third down and manageable. Sometimes you got to just try and avoid third downs, and I think that's what Minnesota was doing a good job of doing, is they were converting on 1st and 2nd downs. Probably the biggest example is this play when Arizona scored to make it 22-16. So 6-point game, Minnesota trying to take the lead of their own. You have Jordan Addison running a route, trying to get into a gap in coverage more over the middle. Again, it's just single safety deep. So they're in a situation where the Cardinals aren't blitzing and they aren't playing cover 2. So because of that, when Darnold runs to play action again, you see a well-blocked play. He's able to step up in the pocket, and just look at how open Jordan Addison is. So it really was about just getting these windows a little bit bigger. It's the small coaching things that you look at that, like, sometimes we sit here and say, oh, why are you committing to the run here? Well, sometimes you need them in a specific coverage to be able to win, and you can't just hope that they stop playing that coverage. You have to make adjustments. I still think, for me personally, I think Arizona should have gone back to blitzing them at a certain point. I think that would have been a good strategy. I think for Arizona, it would have been better to give up stuff, in other ways. I think that was your best coverage. But give credit to the Vikings for getting Arizona out of a coverage that was hurting them and being able to win. So, yeah, really strong coaching. I think good stuff here by Darnold to make these throws at the end, and they're able to ultimately pick up a big win. And hey, don't look now, but that division is still a discussion, right? They're only a game out, and they play the Lions again this season, so it's interesting there. But yeah, those are my thoughts on all of this. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you, and of course, as always, thanks for watching.